Hey guys, Sam Cheney here, back with another episode of Inspection Insights, where we learn, share tips, and look at best practices for Geomagic ControlX. We have a fun episode today, actually inspired by one of the customer calls I was on earlier last week, and it is, of course, focused on deviation location. Now, you may be familiar with this tool, you may not have heard of it before. That's fine. We're going to cover all of the details that you need to know in this episode, so stay tuned. Now, deviation location, as you can see on the screenshots, looks very similar to a 3D comparison, which we have covered numerous times in this webinar series. But deviation location goes a step further than just showing you the heat map or the color map showing deviations. It will actually allow you to identify specific areas of interest, deviations that are above a certain size or close to each other, and then actually take measurements of them. Now, who would use a tool like this? Well, it's widely used in the aircraft industry for measuring and checking on damage to aircraft wings. Think hail damage or anything that has been damaged during, potentially a bird strike or other areas where deviations may be present. Along with aerospace, we also can use this tool for molding and casting. If there's ever any warpage, deviation location is really good for checking those kinds of things, because not only does it check deviation going down or into the part, such as pitting or corrosion, but it also measures deviation up or out of the part. So think warpage or bowing or other things like that. So aircraft, molding, automotive, as well as any kind of corrosion, MRO facility, or just checking damage in general. So lots of different industries. You only need a mesh to start this, actually, so you don't even need to be scanning and comparing it to like a CAD object. Really, really useful. So before we get into it, let's cover what a typical inspection workflow looks like. I cover this every week, and we start with our input data. Now, this can typically be scan data, either from a handheld, an ARM-based system, a drone scanner. Geomagic ControlX works with all available scanner types. So you just import your STL or point cloud, bring in your reference data. Now, this can and typically is CAD data, but it can be a step file, or if you have done the reverse engineering project in something like Geomagic DesignX, you can bring that in as well. Lots of different file formats are supported. Once we have those two inputs inside the software, we then need to do our alignment. Now, this can be a best fit based on the datums. It can be picking points, or just your own custom transforming alignment should you need that. We've covered all of this again in previous episodes, so if you want to learn more about alignments, feel free to scroll back and check those out. Then we move on to the inspection portion of this. So it can be 3D comparisons, doing actual point-to-point measurements, extracting GD&T, setting up datums, so on and so forth. Lots of different things we can do inspections for. And really what we're going to be doing today is just doing an inspection based on the deviation location command. After we've done that, we would then get a report, and we have finished our first inspection routine. We can then rinse and repeat and input new scan data and inspect new parts very, very quickly after that. Here is a breakdown of the different plans for Geomagic ControlX. So we have 3, so you only need to pay for what you need. We have Essentials, Essentials Connect, and Professional. Now, Essentials is very bare bones. It has all of the tools that you need to do a basic inspection. However, it does not connect directly to our scanning system, so you can't scan into the software. You would have to import the data into Essentials. It also does not allow you to do multiple result inspection or some of the more advanced inspection and comparison tools like the airfoil analysis or the deviation location tool, which we are covering today. Actually, the tool that we're covering today is just a tool that is available in ControlX Professional. If you have a scanner that you'd like to connect, but you don't have very, very rigorous or or high volume of inspection reports that you need to generate, Essentials Connect is a good option. It has all the tools in Essentials, but now also allows you to connect and scan into the software itself. Now, if you have lots of inspections or very complicated inspections, or you need to use some of the more advanced comparison tools like the airfoil, the surface defect, and so on and so forth, Professional is really the way to go. If you want to learn more about any particular plan or even start a trial license, feel free to reach out to myself or go to one of our salespeople or our website and hit us up there, and we'd be happy to answer your specific questions on a one-on-one call. Here is our support email and website. If you are a current ControlX or Geomagic customer in general, I highly suggest you check out the support website. There's a lot of really, really useful articles covering everything from specific tools to workflows to just how to get your license set up and started. Another really good wealth of knowledge and resources is actually our YouTube channel. So if you're watching this now, feel free to click on the Geomagic icon and check out the rest of our videos. We have a whole heap in all sorts of different languages. So there's probably going to be something there that will help you learn and use the software more effectively. Okay, let's move into ControlX. Here we are. So we have our part that we have here. It's all set up for this deviation location. And you can see here, we just have measured data right now. We don't have a reference data. All we have is measured data and our coordinate system. And that's all you need to run this tool. You don't need reference data. It's going to create a reference surface on the scan data as part of the steps in creating this tool. So we can find our deviation location in the comparison tools tab. It's right at the end, called deviation location. Now, if I didn't have a coordinate system or measured data, it would be grayed out, but this is all set up ready to use. So we click on our tool and we've got 3 steps to go through. The first one is to give it the local datum or the local coordinate system. So this is where you can select the coordinate system here. We decide what order we want. X, Y is fine for now. And then it's going to ask us what area specifically are we going to look at these deviations. Well, we can see we've got quite a lot of hail damage around here. So I would like this to be my area of interest. And I can manually select it or have it automatically select. I'm going to manually select it for now. So I just click and select all of the area that I would like to cover. That should be good. Hit the check mark here to apply it. And what it's going to do is it's going to take this selection of mesh or STL data, triangulated data, and then fit a surface to it. You can see the surface is silver. Now we can specify the number of control points. Let's give it a few more, shall we? You can also control if you want it to use an existing surface. So if you have CAD or you have an existing surface that you've created, you can input that there, or you can have it just use the selected area that you've specified. You can also have it automatically control whether or not you want it to search a lot or very deep, or if you want to remove some of the smaller deformations, just focus on the big ones. So I'm going to probably leave everything roughly where it is, hit apply, and then you're going to see it's going to create this, and then it's going to compare it, so we'll get a color map. There we go. And I don't have the show tolerance color on, so that's why you can see it's yellow and blue, which is essentially, when you see this pattern, it's essentially within tolerance everywhere. So if we hit our next stage, and if we change our, first we need to find objects. So you can see here it had set an extraction depth, and you can see anything that's circled or outlined is going to be areas that it's selected. So I'm actually going to just change this to 0.25. Oh, a little bit too big. Maybe let's change it to an 1/8. Yeah, that's good. We've got some of the worst ones, and you can see it's not selecting all of it. It's just identifying where this deviation goes below 1/8. So it's 1/8 into the material of the part. If we want to remove some of these smaller ones as well, we can say, hey, they need to be larger than 0.1. Let's see, increase this. There we go. So we've now only got 1, so I can decrease this, maybe split the difference to 5, larger than 1/4 inch. There we go. And we've got 2 objects. Okay, let's see how many it gives us. Yeah, too many there. So let's just want to get a couple. I don't want to have it super overwhelming. But you can see here we have lots of different ways to filter these extractions. So if we want to have filter by area, or filter by deviation, or filter by proximity to one another, we can do that. So once we've identified our objects, we've got a couple here, hit the next icon. And this is where it's going to start creating measurements. Now remember how I was talking about how it's showing you all of this. If I turn on my tolerance color, you can see everything is everywhere that's green is now green. And we've got a few deviations. Now if we want to measure the distance between these deviations to another, we can have the proximity dimensions turned on, or we just have to select our object. So we can select this one and this one and this one, these over here, and is there another one? Yeah, let's select all of them, and I can have it either do full dimension these datums. So I could say, find the width, hit the check mark, and you can see there it's measuring the X, Y, and Z position for all of these dimensions. And actually, maybe we don't want all 6 objects. Maybe we just want, let's pick 2. So it's a little bit easier for us to visually see them. So I can move these around, and it's going to be giving us X, Y, Z of both the deviation and also related back to the coordinate system. If we just want proximity dimensions to each other, we can do that there as well. If we're doing full dimensions, again, if we scroll down, you can see we can specify all sorts of different callouts that we would like it to display. And I'm just going to hit the check mark, leave these here, and then hit this OK. And then we have finished using the tool. We now can move these annotations so they're nice and neat. Let's move them over here. There we go. And where it's taking these points is actually the deepest point of the deviation. So roughly the center of mass. Hit this check mark. If I want to add another viewpoint, I can add my custom view. So we've now got a few different annotations, a few different deviations, and we can move on to actually reporting on this. So we hit generate, and I don't need my reference data because it doesn't exist. I think the rest is okay. So if I hit generate, now in our report editor, where we can see what we have inspected, the reference data, and then our deviation location, and all of the information about those specific objects, and then our custom view that we also created. We can save this as a PDF, PowerPoint, Excel, send it to a friend. If you aren't also aware, we have a free ControlX viewer. So if you have somebody who isn't necessarily a user or a programmer of the ControlX software, but would really like to open up a session and not just get this 2D report, be able to look at these reports in 3D as if you were in the software yourself, you can download ControlX Viewer. Like I said, it's free to download. You can go to our website and get a copy of it. If you have any problems, feel free to reach out to myself or somebody in support. We're happy to help as well. So yeah, that's this for this specific comparison tool. However, we can see that this is also an airfoil profile. So since I'm already here, I can actually come to the Compare tab, go to aerofoil analysis, and specify a base plane. If I zoom out, there we go. Move this along. And you can see there we've got our airfoil profile as well that we could report on. We would, for this specific tool, for the airfoil tool, we would need some reference data though. So you would need to import your CAD model as well. That's it for this time. If you have any questions or would like to see a specific topic covered, feel free to comment down below. And your feedback is really, really useful to me. Helps me shape these inspection insights going forward. So have a great day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.